Hey, in this interview, we're going to be interviewing Canadian artist and singer-songwriter Caroline Parke. I'm Chris with Picks and Sticks Music Studio, and if you're new to this channel, we're an all things music channel, and we like to support our local artists and bands. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button. Not only does this help the channel, this helps also promote the artists and bands that we interview. More likes the video gets, more plays they get, in theory. So, and if you want to see more interviews like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to try to do a lot more of these. I did quite a bit of these last year, and I'm going to try to do a lot more this year. So I'm very excited. This is a new series we're doing. This is called the Not So Local series, and we're going to be interviewing people outside the country. So, like tonight, the first guest is from Canada, and I'm very excited to welcome her to the channel. And it's Caroline Parke, and I'm going to bring her in. I'm going to unmute her, and I'm going to bring her in. How you doing?
Really good. How are you?
Pretty good. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, my name is Caroline Park, and uh, I feel like a music warrior. I don't really leave my house very often, but like so many singer-songwriters, I'm just chugging away making music, and I've been writing music for the first song I wrote was probably in 2008, and then it kind of stalled out when I had a bunch of kids. So I've been full blast writing music for 2 years and 3 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, as always, this interview, we take questions. You can post a question, and here Scott is in the background. Scott Reeves is our moderator, and he's telling you to post your questions to Caroline, and we'll get those answered. And that's always fun. It helps the interview move forward, and you know, I only can come up with so many questions after doing all these different interviews, and so it brings a little bit of variety as well. So, so we have some icebreaker questions. If you could go anywhere on vacation, where would you go?
Oh, like probably down to like Kentucky, Georgia area.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, all around there.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, I'm hoping to go there if the border opens this summer. We're hoping to go on a big family road trip, so I might be knocking on your door.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of venues down here you can play and stuff, and um, yeah, you do well here.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I was thinking of like calling coffee shops along the way and trying to get booked in for little venues. So
Right. Um, and you already know, so you know me, and you know Jesse with Soundbirds.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you already have two connections down here, and I
True.
have I have family from Canada as well, and like, yeah, it kind of sucks with the border being closed. Like, I'm sure they want to come down here and visit, and I would love to go up there and visit, but it's not
Oh,
happening.
not right now. It's way too
Yeah.
cold. You're
No.
not missing anything. We have like 8 foot high, what are they called? Like, when you're bowling and you get the bumper pads, that's what
Yeah.
it's like driving in the back roads here because there's so much snow and
Yeah.
it's higher than the roof of my truck right now. So
Yeah, I remember seeing that going out west to, like, Salt Lake City and going to ski, and you're like, they clear the road, and it's just, like, this huge, like, 12-foot tall, like,
yeah,
thing on each side of the road is crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, favorite meal of the day?
Um, Probably lunch.
Lunch?
Yeah,
I
'cause I
I
don't
think
really
that
I usually skip breakfast, so I have, like, a good coffee, and then I kind of peter out around 10:30 or 11, and by lunch, I'm, like, really ready for it.
yeah, it sounds like I don't eat breakfast, and then
Yeah.
they always make fun of me at work just because 'cause I'm always, like, by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I was like, "Who's doing what for lunch? I'm starving." And then I have to make dinner, so I never look forward to dinner unless we go out, so, um, alright, if you could play anywhere, where would it be?
Oh, lord. Probably on the beach, in the south of Brazil.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So, how about any venues? Any venues?
venues, like, I don't think I could say what one stage that I really felt like was amazing was the Old Town School of Folk Music up in Chicago.
Okay.
I got a picture taken on that stage, and it was an empty venue, and I was just on a tour. But I did think about like I like remember looking down at my feet at the wood floor, and I just thought, wow, this is cool.
That's awesome. Um, if you could meet any artist, who would it be? Dead or alive?
Okay, like I was talking to my husband about this morning, and like I don't know if I could just choose one, but if I had to like default just for an easy answer, probably Eddie Arnold. But but maybe not because there's this other guy named Eddie Dean, and he's like most people don't know him because he's a generation older than the old time country singers.
Mhm.
So Gene Autry called Eddie Dean the world's finest singing cowboy. And so I was listening to one of his old songs, and you could totally see him up on his horse in a black and white film, and he's like singing almost with opera, right? Like just a billowing cowboy voice. And so I ended up covering one of his songs. I did this for my first album is all cover tunes, and I didn't know I was going to be a singer-songwriter. I just literally did this for fun. And so I did his song I Sold My Saddle for an Old Guitar, and he does it in like an opera, but I was in the garden weeding the garden, and I started humming it, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, a girl could even do that song." So I put it on my here it is, The Twang in My Step, and I've
Nice.
got Close Up the Honky Tonks, 4 in the Morning, I Still Miss Someone, Turn Out the Light and Love Me Tonight, like just all my favorite old time country songs. So that was kind of cool. I did this for my friend, my lead singer of my band that passed away. He was 79, and so I dedicated it to him. We were,
That's not
we were
that's very sweet. Sorry about that.
yeah, we were best friends pretty much. So he died in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, how did you get started in music?
Um, well, like I've always been a music fan, and I do like singing because I did that album just for fun. But getting started in actually writing music, it was due to a horrible traumatic event that I went through. So, up in Canada, it's pretty sparse population up here. So, um, we had a rural crime event. Rural crime is on the rise, for the last couple of years here, and we never had any people in our yard or anything like that. But one night we got a call that there were people in the neighbor's yard. So my husband, he actually went out to patrol to try and identify how many people were there because they had called the cops, but it could be quite a while, like definitely half an hour, if not an hour, before the cops would get there. So he did that, and my father-in-law was also driving around. Like you kind of call all the neighbors, right? And I was left in the kitchen at 2:30 in the morning, watch my husband's taillights go down the driveway, and I don't know, 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I noticed that the cab of my vehicle, the light was on, but there was no one in it. And then I looked to the feed truck, and there was someone sitting in it with a ball cap. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I called my husband and said, somebody's in our yard now. And he said, I'm too far away. I'm at the highway. And I didn't know he had patched me in on the phone call. So my father-in-law said, I'll be right there. And he just went up the driveway as fast as could be and got out of the vehicle, and he went around with a flashlight and kind of cleared the yard, and we thought it was all clear. And so I went out on the deck and I talked to him, and then we saw what we thought might have been a getaway car driving really slow. So he drove down the driveway, and I stood on the deck like a bozo, and I didn't go back in the house and lock the door. I dialed 911. I thought I should tell them that it's at my house too. This event is now unfolding. And so I dialed 911 and I said 3 words, and someone came up the stairs with a knife, whoosh, and I dropped the phone, and then they recorded it for 3.5 minutes, me and this girl fighting on the deck. She knocked me down, and then she ran into the house, and she slammed the door, but the deadbolt was misaligned, and it had been for months, and I told my husband, "You gotta fix that door," and and now I know by the grace of God, he didn't fix the door all during the month of July and August and September. This was September 16th, and I knew the door would not lock. And so I ran for the door and I shouldered it open and I jerseyed that girl, bent her over, and I whacked her on the back of the head with my flashlight until she gave up her knife. And I had a cut here and I had a little puncture here, and the door to the closet was knocked off. And it was like, whew, that was exciting. And then none of my kids woke up the whole time, but that was 3.5 minutes. And when I was in the porch, I remember looking down out the door and seeing black and seeing we have a long driveway, in the country
Mhm.
roads here, and looking for my father-in-law's taillights, thinking I'm gonna die. Like she had a knife and she was high and energetic, right? And so after the event, I was just like, wow, that was really intense, and I'm really lucky. But then a couple weeks go by, and my brain kind of, I was traumatized, right? So it
Mhm.
was hard. My kids were 1, 3, 5, and 6 at the time. And so they don't understand social stuff. They all talk at the same time. I couldn't have multiple conversations at once. I was like, I'm just going to make this food and then I'm going to put it on the table and then I'm going to my bedroom. And you guys are just going to have to eat it under the supervision of your father because I can't do this. And so that was my life for a year, pretty much. It took me a year to get over it. But about a month after the event, I started writing. And so I wrote, I released the album the following May. So I wrote from October till February, probably. And I started recording on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And I ended up with 15 songs. There's 3 in here that I wrote prior, like back in like 2008 and 9 when I was just trying to fool around with the guitar. I had only been playing guitar for a year, so I jotted down some songs, right? But anyhow, so I wrote one song about the event, and then I wrote another one later that didn't make it onto this CD. So I just this was kind of my therapy getting over that event. And the day that this design and everything was approved was the day I was in court giving my testimony. So I just felt like it was all meant to be. And then, a week later, this was released officially.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, I'm going to go back to my normal life now. And this is just part of my journey. And that's it. And I'm done. And like the next week, I started writing more music. So now I'm a singer songwriter. So then I released this one last summer just for fun. It's called Pause and Pine. And so the story behind Pause and Pine, which is the title track, is that while this was very therapeutic, I was also developing a really bad habit. Like I was trying to carve out some peace in my life because
Right.
I was often disoriented. Like I'd go to town and I'd go to the grocery store and I couldn't shop in a orderly fashion. Like I was just, I know this sounds really stupid probably, but if you've ever had like a traumatic event where you're like, I was disoriented. Like I couldn't pick what store to go to next. I just sat in the parking lot like just dumb. I don't know. Anyhow, so a lot of these songs are happy and they're reflecting on happier times in my life, and so that's good, and it got me through uh, that bad time. But through the process of doing that, I was also developing really bad habits of thinking of what if this and what if that, and not being grateful for what I have right in front of me, which is a really very full life, living a country life with 4 kids, and
Right.
a handful of cattle and big garden like I've always wanted and everything, right? So I was in my garden one time and I was on my knees and I was kind of bitter and I'm like picking out the weeds and feeling like, how come it didn't work out? How come this plan didn't work out once upon a time? And, just being ungrateful and bitter. And so I walked up the little hill towards my house and I turned around and I looked at my garden and the view and I just thought, wow, I just wasted like 90 minutes, just being a bitter old hag. So then I wrote this song and the chorus is don't pause and pine, so full of sorrow. What's in the past can't be redone. Uh, just mind your conscience, look to tomorrow, don't pause and pine, what's done is done.
Yeah, and
So
I'm really bad about that saying what if, and
so
had
unhelpful.
we've had a couple things with our kids, like what if, I don't want to get into big long
Personal.
stories, but like, one was, I was in the car waiting on Stacy and this one Parker was little. He's our oldest, but he was like, like 2 or something. And I'm waiting in the car, waiting, waiting, waiting. She gets in and I'm like, frustrated that we need to be somewhere probably. And I'm ready to put in reverse. And she just said, Parker's not in the car. And I went out and he's sitting behind the car, like sitting there, like I would have ran him over.
Yeah.
And I think to myself all the time, what if I ran him over? What if, and Stacey's like, well, that's, why we're, you know,
A team.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, but in my mind, it took me years and years to get over that because I just, I would sweat, I would think about it, it would come up and I would just sweat about it. But
Oh,
the good thing is Stacy's the type where she's like, you know, it didn't, right? Just get over it.
yeah.
Why are you worried about the past when we got the future? So that's an awesome song.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should listen to it. And all the 3 verses are like so honest, It's just like, why did I have to be so honest? Couldn't I just like, you know, just sugarcoat it a little bit? But no, I wrote that song so that I could sing it to myself, so that I could make myself not be so covetous of things that I don't have. So
Right.
yeah.
So while we're kind of talking about your writing, where you came up with your songs and stuff like that, why don't we talk about the writing process? How do you start your process? Is it lyrics first? Is it
Mm. Um,
um, progressions first, or
well, I have one song that is like my new hit song, if I can call it that, and that chord progression, I strummed it for a year. I sent it to my girlfriend who's like a professional musician, and I was like, "Why do I like this so much?" And let me just see if I have it close by. It goes G, E minor, F, D minor, and then it repeats, but it's like cousins, and it's E minor, A minor, C, D. It almost sounds the same, but it's not.
right?
And I strummed that on and off for a year before I finally got lyrics for it. So, of course, it's on my next album, which is out next month, and I think it might be my favorite song on the album just because and that one is, the one that I released to streaming services. I thought I'll pick 1 or 2 songs that I'll stream, and the rest I'll just put on an album, and people really want it, they can go and buy it off my website.
Right.
'Cause I'm tired of giving away, like, 90% of the revenue to somebody else.
Right. No, I understand.
I gotta fund the next album, right? Somehow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes it's lyrics, but I think mostly the lyrics don't come unless I'm strumming. And sometimes I'll have a progression and I'll just strum it and words will come. And if they don't, or maybe I get half of a verse and the second half doesn't come and I just play it over and over again, spend 20 minutes and it I haven't not been able to write. Like I have not had writer's block since I started this process, I don't think.
Hmm.
I hear a lot of apparently that's like a common thing, right, for writers to have writer's block, so I'm so glad I haven't got that yet.
Yeah, I've had a writer's block for 46 years, so
Oh, no, so do you do mostly instrumentals then?
I haven't recorded really anything. When I was younger, I recorded a couple songs, but I just I come up with some great riffs and great, um, you know, instrumental stuff, but I just can never figure out lyrics, and I don't know, I'm bad about that. I need to get with some people and just be like, "All right, this is what I wanna do, this is these are my ideas, help me with them." That's what's, nice about, a band, you got, 3
Yeah.
to 5 people to help you out with that part, but when you're by yourself, it you gotta be very talented, which apparently you are because you have
Well,
some
I've had
really
a
great
little
music.
help. I've had some help, like, there's this, songwriting circle that I would never have known about had it not been for COVID, so, it's 3 hours west of me, but, for COVID, they bumped it online, and I just happened to ask somebody, "Do you know anybody around? Like, what's going on?" And they hooked me up with this, so once a month, you could if you were stuck, you could pitch a song to a group of people on Zoom, and then they all give their feedback, so that's been kinda cool.
Yeah, that's cool. My problem too is like once I get the structure is what I struggle with too. It's like, okay, how many times do I do the verse? How many times do I do the chorus? And maybe if I put something on, um, record something, then I guess I can tweak it later. But nothing's set in stone until you finally release it, right? And
Right, and then
I
you
got
you hear it and you're like, "Oh, I should have done it different." So, don't get stuck in perfection, otherwise you get nothing eventually.
right.
Yeah.
Um, what's your favorite part of the writing process?
I really enjoy when it just comes together and you just put a bow around it and it's done. Like, I quite often will do I'll write a song 80% of the way, and then I'll go and sleep on it, and then a day or 2 or sometimes 3 days later, I'll do the finishing touches and poof, and it just magic. So that happened, the week after I released the Road album. I started writing this song called Oklahoma Between, and I think I wrote it in 2 or 3 sittings, but all within 1 week. It was like a Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and it was just like a complete masterpiece, and that's the one that's on Jesse's top 10 right now. So,
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that. I'll have to go check that out and vote
it's
for it.
only there for 2 more weeks
All right,
'cause
everybody go vote for that.
yeah, it's called Oklahoma Between, so it's kind of like an Americana, like, love story waltz. Yeah.
All right, well, remind me, and I'll put that down in the description. I'll put the link. So when she says Jesse, she's talking about
Oh, sorry, the
Jesse, yeah, Jesse Landers with the Georgia Songbirds. Um, he does a top 10 weekly countdown here in Georgia, and it's pretty cool. So if you're on that list, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
congratulations.
yeah. He did like, an album review for me, and he was like, "I gotta pitch that song, like, next week on my top 10," and I was like, "Yes, you do, because it was like there's some songs that are like, "Yeah, that's a pretty decent song. Yeah, whatever." But then there's other ones that just, like, they just shine right from the beginning. And then I sent it to my producer and he dressed it up. Like I write cowboy country, right? Like
Mhm.
145 or whatever, sometimes a minor or seventh, but not a whole lot. And when I showed up to do my vocals, I looked at what he had laid out and I was like, "What is this?" Like, and he's like, "Well, I just thought maybe we could do a C minor diminished there."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, let's." It was the same melody line, but yeah, he definitely dressed it up really beautiful for me. So
That's nice. That
yeah,
and it you can't do everything by yourself, right? There's always gonna be somebody that sees something that you don't.
yeah. Well, and I do have like 3 people that I will, as I have mock-ups before I'm like ready to send it to the studio, and so I'll send the mock-up to. I had 3 friends, and now I have 2. One of them passed away last month. So, and he was like a old folk genius from the '70s. Like he had a a Juno nomination back in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
So, and he what I love about a lot of my friends is they're all retired. I hang out with all the older crowd, right? So they have a lot of time on their hands, and he was always busy, but he always made time, and he listened to, like, I released this next album that's coming is called Walk With Me, and there's 12 songs on it, but he listened to 8 of them, and I was gonna send him the last 4, and then he passed away. So, but the 8 that he listened to, he replied on email, and then we talked about it quite a bit, and, I'm just so grateful that there are people out there that will take the time to really give me feedback, because I think you can learn so much from people that are older than you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Um, what era would you say your music is? I mean, I listen to it all. It's great stuff. It's definitely a little bit more of the older country sound, right?
Yeah, and folky, I don't know, like, maybe the '70s country? I don't
And
really
you, then
I don't
one
know.
of 'em, a couple of them were almost a little bluegrassy, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, no harm in that, right?
No, no, I'm not. No, I'm just trying to give the viewers like
Oh,
um kind of what it. I can't really stream it on Spotify on this podcast, but
great.
so if you want to perform a song, you could do that.
Whew. Well, it won't be, finger picking bluegrass or anything, but I will sure give it a go, yeah. Okay, so I need to adjust my
Settings,
microphone, right?
right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
I'll sing you a song about, there we go. Um, it's called Days Gone By. And let me just grab my axe here.
all right, we're gonna give this a try.
Yeah, I hope it works. If it's glitching too much, just okay. Oh, I should just. So, I'm married into a family that has a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and I just thought it was a nice country lifestyle, but I didn't realize how far into the country that we are. And so I'm quite a ways from a regular, like a town. So the only thing left of the hamlet that we live nearby is a shut down school, a community hall, and the community hall still functions, and there's a set of mailboxes. So I wrote the first verse and the chorus, and then I told my father-in-law about it, and I sent him an audio clip of it. And wouldn't you know, he just audio clipped me right back with another verse, and then a couple hours later, so he wrote the second and the third verse. And I think he got his start in music sitting on an open cab tractor when he was 10 years old or something. So he's been humming tunes for a long time. So anyhow, this is Days Gone By. Back in the day when our paws forked hay, we all lived by a moral code. Down a dirt road, great neighbors and friends, shaking hands time and again. Well, we'd all come around to help break ground or relocate a barn or two. Rural population pulling together wouldn't work without me and you. Oh, the days gone by. Handshakes used to mean something, now we all just high-five and work alone. We're not side by side, depending on each other. When I pass someone on the road, not everybody waves. They're just on the knob at the community hall. Families seem to scatter like the wind. It used to be the hub and the kids would run and play, but now the city's drawing them in. There used to be a time when we all had a dime to share over a coffee or tea.
Who are we working for, and what's it all about when there's no time for you or for me? Oh, the days gone by. Handshakes used to mean something, now we all just high five and work alone. We're not side by side, depending on each other. When I pass someone on the road, not everybody waves. Now the school's no more like the cafe and the store, just a post office box by the road. Most hit the trail when the pay got frail, just a few left carrying the load. A quarter or two was once enough to do, but it won't pay the bills anymore. We need sections by the dozen, and the tractor's always humming, so the banker won't come banging at the door. Oh, the days gone by. Handshakes used to mean something, now we all just high five and work alone. We're not side by side, depending on each other. When I pass someone on the road, not everybody waves. Oh, you're not muted. Or you are. Wait, is it? I need to change my settings too. Here we go.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, if I started talking, it'd be all echoey.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. That I think the audio was pretty good. It was a little loud. It was a little loud, but but people can turn down their volumes. So
Well, I can turn down my mic too if we do another one.
yeah, no, it was. I think that was a lot. I was a little worried about it because when we were kind of in the beginning, the internet bandwidth was a little low, but that was perfect. I think that came out great, and that was you did well. That was awesome, man. That was
Thanks.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I'm like dumbfounded. It was good.
Really? Did it take you down like the rural? It's the dwindling rural population moving to the city, right? Like it's a sad thing, and I wonder if it's happening all over North America, but there's just fewer farms, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely here. I mean, every day you see, where they tear down trees and put houses up. We're probably you're a little more probably.
There's very few people out here.
Yeah.
So once upon a time, a farm was just 1/4 section, right?
Yeah. So like where I'm originally from Gainesville, Florida, and we lived outside of Gainesville, and it was very, I won't say country, but we had farms and horse farms and dairy farms and stuff like that, and there was a farm near our house, walking distance through the woods, and they had horses and all kinds of different animals and stuff like that. And now I go back and visit, and that farm's gone. And it's just these
Concrete, probably.
It's just these little houses that are all 10 feet apart, and it's just kind of sad, But yeah. Anyway,
I'm for changing.
Yeah. So let's see. I didn't read this first. I want to know more about the beautiful crafter.
Oh,
is that a 30th anniversary model?
Who's asking that?
Scott Reeves.
Oh, okay.
He wants to know about your guitar.
It is. How does he know that? How did no one has ever known it's a 30th anniversary model.
So Scott Reeves he's our moderator, obviously. All my fans know
It's got
listeners.
Mother of Pearl, moon cycle around the edges. It's got the mountains here, which remind me of home because my parents are in the Rocky Mountains. And it's got a cutout just in case I ever get talented enough to go, which I'm not yet. But anyhow, it's just, I wanted to buy something like my instruments. I have to want to hold them. And this baby, I love holding it. Like, it's just, like nobody I even knows has even heard of Crafter, but I saw this in the store and I was like, this is something else. And then I bought a different one that was cheaper and I kept it for 3 days and I went back to the store and asked if I could return it and get this one instead.
And
So,
obviously they said yes.
oh yeah, he's like, "What do you need?" He's like, "Is something wrong with your guitar?" And I was like, "Yep, I need the expensive one, please."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Reeves is our gear guru.
Okay.
He knows everything about guitars, and
Well,
he's built guitars and all kinds of stuff. So
and it says Moonlight 30th anniversary model. So way to go, Scott Reeves. Did he zoom up on inside my guitar and read that?
I don't know. I don't know. He's good.
Yeah.
He might have saw the thumbnail and looked it up or something, but
Cool.
I think he probably just knew because that's the type of person he is.
Yeah.
So
Well, he found his calling then, eh?
yeah. So anytime I'm thinking about buying a guitar, I always that's the first person I
Well, that's really good to know because I'm very tempted to get a decent mandolin, but I don't know where to start. So I might have to, I'll keep that in mind in the coming years.
So you briefly talked about your album. So and you kind of said it before earlier about when it was released, your last album, but you're
Oh,
about to release another one, right? So
I know, like it's a problem to have. So this one I released in July, and this one has um two cover songs. So I wanted to cover The Wind and the Wire, and Take These Chains by Hank Williams Sr., of course. And then at the end, I have a fiddle instrumental that I wrote, and then I got my girlfriend to play it because she's been playing for like 33 years, and she just made it sound phenomenal. So if you have any inclination to listen to a fiddle tune, it's called Driftwood, and it's very, very luscious.
no, it's very. I've listened to that, and it was.
Oh, you have?
Yes, it's very good. It's one of the highlights I think of the album.
I think, well, that's why I put it last because it's kind of like the cherry on top, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely it's I'm not a big fiddle person. Yeah, I don't study it or practice it or
Yeah.
but it's unbelievable. It's really good.
Thanks. I wrote it in the shower. Or like I got started on it and I actually like wrapped myself in a towel. I had to find my cell phone and I started humming it into my cell phone.
So I know you kind of started practicing fiddle a little bit and playing it, and then you came up with that melody, and then you had her play it, right?
I
And then
wrote it.
expand on it.
I wrote it on the fiddle and I played it for her very sloppily. And she said, "Oh, you mean like this?" And I said, "Yes." So, and she actually, I got the sheet music done and it says written by Caroline Parke, arranged by Deanna Dolstra.
Right.
So I had a couple different segments and I didn't know which one was the chorus and which one was the verse or whatever you want to call them. So she helped do that. And then I played the fiddle and she sat at the piano and she figured out the chords to it. So it was a really beautiful thing because I don't generally have help, and if I have help it's not usually in the same room as me, like literally working together with somebody.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was nice. I got 2 more instrumentals but haven't had time to get her to the studio. She's a busy lady. So
Right. Yeah, she's very talented. I need to look up her stuff and
oh yeah,
all right. So let's talk about who played on we kind of said that, but who played on the album and who sang some stuff on it, cuz I know you had, was it your father-in-law sang
yeah,
some stuff?
yeah.
And then you had, obviously there's quite a few different instruments on there.
Yeah, so Ray does most of that, my producer, and
Mhm.
so he does bass and guitar, and he did the lead guitar on most of the songs. Definitely on the Oklahoma song, he had fun with that one. So, but he does a little bit of fill with the band in a box there, and yeah, my father-in-law he sang backup on this one, The Days Gone By.
Mhm.
And then I actually asked around quite a few up and comer gents and they all turned me down. I said, I have this song, I need male vocals for it. And finally I just said, okay, Ed, can you help me out here? and he sang, well, better as a memory. So there's one song sung by a man on this CD. It was really cool to collaborate in that way, with family. So
right, he's definitely talented as well. So he did a good job on that.
Oh, so you listened to it?
Yeah, I listened to the whole album.
The whole you did? Oh, that's so nice.
I don't just interview people. I do my homework, man.
Well, and I'll let you know that my dad and Cameron, my husband, contributed to Ranchin'. So I'm sure you saw a music video for Ranchin'. Did you? Or were you listening on Spotify?
I was listening to it on Spotify. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you go to my YouTube channel, I actually have 7 music videos out of the 12 songs. So
yeah,
they're home videos.
I did watch a couple of them, but so I listened to you on Spotify, and then I also listened to Jesse's album review.
Oh, okay.
So
wow, that's a lot of homework.
Yeah. So no, that's what I do. So like if I'm interviewing somebody, even last minute, I try to find out as much as possible about that person.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what I did.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you want to play another song?
Yeah, I could.
I did have one other question. Hold on. Sorry, my notes are over here. I should get it up here on a screen so it doesn't look like I'm looking away. But what is the hardest and easiest song you wrote? I know you wrote one of them. I heard that it took you like 45 minutes to write, right?
I think it was like 25. I literally, like, the kids were coming in and out of the bedroom, and I was sitting on my bed with my guitar, and I had my notebook, and I was like, and Shirley, my little daughter, I strummed 2 chords, and I looked at her, and I was like, this is going to be awesome. And then it was bedtime, and I'm like, so Cameron looked at me, and he could see that I was like ready to do something very substantial. And so he just closed the door, and he put all the kids to bed for me that night. And by the time he was done, he came back, and I was like, listen to this song. And it was done. So
that's amazing. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, that was really cool. And so you want the hardest song too that I've ever written?
You're like every other one.
No. You know what? The only one that so that songwriting circle, I pitched them the sharing of each other, and they told me to flip the second and the third verse, I think, or no, the first and the third. So the opening verse was actually the closing, and vice versa, or something like that. I think we just rotated all 3, and so I don't generally have issues with that, and so I just thought I'll just sing the song and then see what people say about it. And yeah, they said that first verse can't be the first verse. You should put it somewhere else. So I'd say that was I was very, very grateful to have that input, because I felt like the verse that I had starting there was kind of what's it called? It was a little bit risque, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
On your last album, what is your favorite song?
Probably Shiloh Road, or like if you that's hard to say, but probably Shiloh Road or Oklahoma. Yeah.
I liked Oklahoma. It was pretty good. I mean, they were all good, so, but it was pretty good too.
Well, Shiloh Road was really, actually, that might have been one of the harder songs to write too, because I sent that to my dad like 6 times, and he just kept criticizing me, and I kept rewriting it, and he said, why do you always write songs that have to do with relationships? And I was like, well, why would you write a song that's not about a relationship? So I kind of took it as a challenge, and I sent him the I think I have like I have like 4 private videos of Shiloh Road, like different versions that I sent to my dad, and he so I ended up
putting on what I would call a man's hat, and I pretended to be a man. And I'm like, hey, how do you invoke emotion without using words? Right?
Right.
Like girls, like chicks, we like to just we talk lots, right? More so on average than a man. And possibly use more flowery language and everything. So I kind of took Shiloh Road as a challenge to kind of see how could I invoke emotion without being directly putting it in your face, you know?
Right.
So I think it turned out really, really well. But you know, now that you have that perspective, you'd have to listen to it again to really see what
I will.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so you want to play that second song?
Mm-hmm. So I'll sing you this. Let me change the settings. And this is about this is the other song that I wrote, The Attack. And it's called What a Memory. Crafter, 30th edition. I'll back up a little bit. So maybe that won't be as loud. I was standing in the open, eyes scanning the yard and fields. Then I thought I should call it in, but I hardly got the chance. Now I close my eyes and the blade still slashes. What a memory. It replays every night I'm wakeful. When will I be free? The case drug on through the dark cold months. I could see no tracks in the snow, but the dog still barked and I always jumped, and I just wanted to go. And I'd close my eyes, see the girl there crying. What a memory. It replays every night I'm wakeful. When will I be free? Don't matter where you live, there is hurt all around. Every day I try to just keep my feet on the ground. And I close my eyes, see the girl there fighting. What an awful memory. It replays every night I'm wakeful. I want to be free. Well, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but my sound mind has been shaken. 6 months past, I survived that night, but is she gonna make it? Now I close my eyes and I see her crying. She's full of bad memories. They probably replay every time she's angry. She might never feel free. There we go. Oh, you're still muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
That was great.
Thanks.
One day I'll remember that. It even flashes up on the screen. You're muted. But I always mute myself, so I make sure I'm not, interfere with the performance.
Oh, yeah.
So
That would be awkward.
like cough or sneeze or something.
Yeah.
No, that was great. That was awesome. It turned out great. Eventually I'm going to do a video where I isolate all the performances and put them up. So
Okay. Put them all together.
yeah, because not every interview we perform, because like if it's a
Right.
big band, we don't do it.
I guess not. Yeah.
We tried it once. It worked out okay. Like somebody did like one of those little I can't remember what they're called, the little boxes for the drums, and they play guitar and bass and stuff. It worked out, but it's rare to do a whole.
It's pretty tricky to
Yeah.
get the audio just perfect. Was it not as loud?
It was good. It was
Okay.
good. People can turn down their volume. They can turn it back up. So let's we're at the tail end here. So let's talk
Great.
about social media and stuff like that.
Yeah. So like I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. I have Bandcamp, but I haven't figured out too well how to follow other people. So apparently people follow each other on Bandcamp. I need to get on that. And then I have my own website. So if people want to like purchase any music or anything, I'd prefer that rather than like Apple Music. But like you said, it's a trade-off with those streaming services. You get a lot of everyone around the world can really find you if they look for you, right? So
Right.
yeah, I'm on Twitter every day and really enjoying that. I just started tweeting, I don't know, last October. So
Right.
I do like singer-songwriter, like cheesy stuff and stay-at-home mom stuff. So kind of have like a broad audience. And on my YouTube, I have a YouTube channel, and I got that back in when I first started playing guitar. So you can go on there and watch me play "Oh My Darling Caroline" on the banjo. My hair is in a bun, and I'm wearing like a bathrobe. But I left it on there because I thought it shows a progression of talent. So the first song I posted was with a mini rover doing "Tall, Tall Trees" by Alan Jackson. And it's also very embarrassing, but I didn't pick up the guitar till I was 24 years old. And so I think that I'm proud of that I've come that far, and
Right.
and on the YouTube channel, you can kind of see the progression and like the different phases that I went through. And it's a pretty cool thing. And oh yeah, so now I'm starting to do like stay-at-home mom stuff. So I have like reels on how to make salsa and stuff if you're interested in learning how to make salsa. Oh boy.
I'm trying to share. I'm
Hmm?
trying to share. I'm trying to share your
Okay.
stuff, but I was late to the game on that. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm sorry.
It's all good. Yeah, so if people want to go check out my YouTube channel, like I said, I have 7 music videos that I got done. I got 2 of them I got assistance with, and then the other 5 I did myself. And yeah, I do fiddle events, right? Because I've been learning fiddle for 5 years. So I try that the ones where I'm playing fiddle in the red shirt there. That's my girlfriend that's on the piano.
Okay.
So, and yeah, I do a couple. I got the big rock drop there on the bottom left, and that's like a 50,000-pound rock that we got delivered from the pipeline project that was on our land. And they like, there are rocks, right? So we're like, no, we want that rock in our yard. Bring it over here.
Right.
So, and then farmers, meat lovers, pizza. Yeah. So I love YouTube. Like I was posting on there once a week when I was young and single. I used to play on Saturday nights in the Royal Canadian Legion up in Fort McMurray, and then I would cross country ski, and then I'd do a YouTube video, and that was like my weekend. So it goes way back. Like,
I noticed that it was like it
Yeah.
just keeps going and going.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you probably have over 100 on there.
I have 205 videos.
Yeah.
I think, or 203 or something. There's a bunch of hymns. I started learning hymns on the fiddle there. And then I tried to do a bunch of outdoor videos because I find it very hard living up in Canada and staying in the house. And well, I could go outside, but I don't really want to, when it's below 0.
Right.
So yeah, this is now getting into, way back when.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been a music fan, and I think that's what I like most about being a singer-songwriter now, is that I'm meeting more super fans, people that are like, most people that are writing their own songs are just big music fans.
Right. Tell us about the there's a couple that was a big fan of yours, right?
Yeah.
And I can't remember all the details now.
Like, they sent me honey from Kentucky.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, on these Georgia Songbirds podcast, he's like, "Well, do you want to give him a shout out?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then afterwards, they watched it and they're like, "Oh, we don't mind." So yeah, it's Susan and Arnold Cross. I think they discovered me through a YouTube video I did with my dad back in like 2008 or 9, and we did this really old song called "Are You Mine?" It's a duet. And I mean really old, like it's a very, I don't know even know how far back it goes. But that's how they discovered me, and so they've been my fans all this time, and they've sent me twice, not once, but twice. They've sent me money from their, I think it's their farm, and now their son runs it.
Mm,
And I think on the packaging it was like 51 American dollars just to mail it. Like,
that's
I just
crazy.
feel like so grateful to have people out there that care about me, and so they send me cards, keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, so my daughters are going to be pen pals with their great granddaughter, and it's really neat. I just love meeting people. And so since I started this journey 2 years ago, I've kind of been like putting people on the map. So when we go on this big road trip, we're definitely going to go through Kentucky, and there's a couple people. There's another fiddle girl that I want to meet there that's in like southeastern area, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're ever in Georgia, just let us know.
You betcha. I sure will. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me on your program.
Yeah.
And I might send some friends your way if you don't mind.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of local bands I need to do, but I definitely want to do this series and spread the love and definitely send people my way, because I don't turn down anybody. So
Right. Yeah, it's just a matter of scheduling it whenever,
yeah,
right? So,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, if I get too full, I mean, I like I said earlier, like there'll be times where I'll have like 6 or 7 scheduled, and so I have to keep pushing them out. But yeah,
life is busy, man. When if we could all just be totally dedicated to what we're doing, what could we do? Well, there's so many other things happening, right? Like, I'm teaching my 6-year-old how to read this year. So, because the program that the school goes to is only half days, and I'm not driving 3 times a day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So my mornings are kind of taken up with that, and then I got my afternoons. Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to plug or say, or?
Probably after you hit the end button, I'll think of something.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having me on your program. It was really, really great chatting and getting to know you.
Right. Well, you too as well, and keep in touch. When your album comes out, let's try to do something to promote that. And
that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, just remind me, because I got a lot on my plate as well.
I will fire you an email. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. Thanks so
All
much.
right. Yeah, and everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for doing this interview with me, and everybody go straight home.